But I wanted to ask you too, you said you lived in Europe and lived abroad quite a bit. And it's always interesting, having moved away from my hometown, and coming back. And I realized that experience moving away provides great perspective. And so talk to me a little bit about what air gunning is like overseas in Europe and in Australia, wherever you've been, as compared to how it is here in the States. I know
it's much broader, for one thing. In terms of visibility and the percentage of people participating in it. If you look at the UK, they support 3 major magazines like Sports Afield, Outdoor Life, just on air guns. There's Airgun World, there's Airgun, and Airgun Shooter, and those are 3 big glossy publications. I would venture to guess there are as many, maybe more airgun hunters than there are firearm hunters in the UK. Now, part of this is the difficulty in owning a gun there. The other is difficulty in finding a place and the expense of hunting game animals. But there's a huge market for hunting vermin, which they consider rabbits, gray squirrels, wood pigeons, corvids, crows, and magpies, those kind of things, and feral pigeons. And that's actually where air gun hunting, in my mind, kind of got started. That's the fatherland of air gun hunting. And that's where you see a lot of manufacturers of air guns coming out. Now, what's interesting is they're limited in the power they can use. If their gun puts out more than 12 foot-pound of energy, which is like a weak break barrel gun, which is what probably the greater number of them hunt with, you need an FAC, a firearms certificate, the same as you would for a firearm. Really? Which means you have to have a place where you're locking your gun. You have to show why you're going to have the gun, why you're going to use it. So there's a limit. So the first guns that were coming over here from Europe were pretty low powered. It's actually, and we can talk about this later, but it leads up to the big bores. It's the American experience that really started to lead to what you see in higher power standard caliber guns, that the 177, but mostly the 22, the 25, the 30 now. That's been driven by the American market. But anyway, there was more of an acceptance over there and understanding. And there was also a desensitization to the expensive air guns. They paid a lot of money for air guns over there, and that shocked Americans when they found out that this quality air gun was going to cost more than a Ruger 1022 and a brick of ammunition.
Right.
But because there was that kind of the economic driver behind it, there was a lot of energy put into making really fine quality guns in Europe. Australia was in somewhat of the same situation. I was living in Australia when they banned all semi-autos and really started to put controls in. And I used to sit there with a tear in my eye and watch the news as they would bring truckloads of rifles and drop them into these big hoppers and crush them all. You see more people with air guns, and they do have some things to hunt over there with air guns. To be honest, at that time in my life, I was living in the city. I was living in Sydney. I didn't get out that much, and when I did, I was doing more fishing than hunting, but I still got out once in a while to shoot an air rifle.
Fishing in Australia, that sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. And South Africa, my wife is South African, so I've been going there for years. And this ties into the big bore story. That's when I started getting interested in big bores and more powerful guns more seriously, was on my trips to South Africa. The first thing is I wanted something to take over to shoot guinea fowl. I wanted a PCP pistol, 25 caliber, and that's really when I got into some serious discussions with Dennis Quackenbush, you probably heard of. Kind of acknowledges the father of big bore air guns. And I met some other serious big bore air gun hunters then, and we kind of got the whole thing developing together at that time.